Throughout the ancient world, the Bronze Age arose in different places at different times. From roughly 2000 BC in China to 3300 BC in parts of the Near East. It's an era defined by the widespread use of bronze, created through a mixture of copper and tin.
Well, the new technology of bronze, we don't really know what prompted it. If you've got what we call native copper, it's copper with arsenic in it. And if you heat it up, it actually does make bronze. The problem is if you heat up something with arsenic in it, you're not going to live very long. So they quickly figured out that if you replace the arsenic with tin, in a ratio of 90% copper to 10% tin, that you will get bronze and you won't die while making it.
Bronze was more durable than any other metal and more useful than gold or silver. The ancients could use it to make agricultural tools, hunting spears, and daggers. They also created ornamental grave goods, drinking vessels, jewelry, and weapons for war.
So prior to the Bronze Age and the Neolithic period, people's wealth was in agricultural produce, textiles, pottery, that kind of thing. And those can be transferred and hoarded to an extent, but they kind of go bad after a while. Clothes rip, cattle die. Metal is a new kind of wealth that was not seen before. Metal is a wealth that can be displayed, it can be used, but its value doesn't go down when it is worn. It can be melted again and made into something else.
The Bronze Age is a moment where people are starting to use this combination of tin and copper on a more regular basis, and that's what sort of historically has given us the name of the Bronze Age. But it is more specifically and more importantly a moment where connections are being made between societies on a much broader scale, reaching across the sea, reaching across land. Diplomacy, as we think of it now, really has its roots in the Bronze Age.
In the region that includes the Mediterranean, the Aegean, Mesopotamia, and Egypt, the Bronze Age arrived around 3000 BC and lasted nearly 2,000 years. Bronze and other metals helped to fuel the rise of the first true cities. These centers of power were ruled by a group of elites, royal families, wealthy landowners, merchants, and temple managers.
In the early Bronze Age, settlements weren't much larger than about 2.5 acres in today's measurement. Probably groups of around 150, 200 people. Then towards the Middle Bronze Age, you get what some archaeologists have called big men. People controlling the surplus, storing it, extracting taxation from people. And then in the Late Bronze Age, you get people moving into much larger cities, like Knossos and Mycenae at their height probably had around 12,000, 17,000 people, which is around a mid-sized city today.
So by the time we get to the Late Bronze Age, we're in relatively sophisticated civilizations. I mean, not on the level of today, of course, with the technology, but at places like Knossos in Crete, where you've got the Minoans, they've got a sewer system. They've got running water. And they've got international trade around the Mediterranean. So they're actually quite sophisticated considering it's 3,000 years ago.
During the Bronze Age, the population of Egypt's ancient capital, Thebes, swelled to 80,000 people. And in Mesopotamia, a region that developed along the banks of the Tigris and Euphrates rivers, the city of Uruk had an equal number of inhabitants at the height of its power.
Perhaps it would be more apt to call it something like the Urban Age, the period when urban societies first emerged, anywhere in the world as far as we know. You have economic specialization, where people are not just all food producers, but actually have different specialized professions or jobs and so forth. That's part of this phenomenon. When human societies become not just people of relatively equal social status, but rather you have an elite and you have a middle class and you have a lower class and you have slaves, all that. That's also part of this phenomenon.
To keep these highly stratified societies running efficiently, New systems were developed: large-scale farming and manufacturing, organized religion, government administration, law and taxation.
They've got laws, they've got jurisprudence, they've got all sorts of things that we would, associate with today. So, for example, around 1800 BC, we've got Hammurabi, king of Babylon. In things like Hammurabi's law code, we've got regulations that really hit home today. Divorce, marriage, runaway slaves upon occasion, what to do in the case of debt, for example. So we've got society as we know it.
During the Bronze Age, many new technologies and inventions were created to meet the needs of these increasingly complex societies, including the earliest writing systems.